I just believe in what's going to happen will happen, and what's meant to be will be, man. You know, but yeah, I'm excited to see what is next for me in terms of where I head. I love fashion, so we never know. I might just be a fashion designer in 10 years.
This podcast is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I love your. Is that Mortal Kombat behind you on like a?
Yeah, it's like a little arcade machine. There's a bunch of cardboard and polystyrene behind there, but yeah.
That's sick.
Friend. Yeah, crazy, man.
That's really cool.
It's like a little bachelor pad, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I see Big Bird up there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, first off, talk to me about where were you born and raised?
Born and raised and still live in Wolverhampton, England, UK, United Kingdom.
Okay, you're still there.
Yeah. I still live here. I have 2 kids, so a lot of people don't know that, but I'm a dad first and foremost before anything, you know. So yeah, like anywhere I need to go, I can just travel to. So I like to be home because also it keeps me very grounded, you know. Like it's a small town away from I say London or wherever the hype is at, you know. But to be able to still maneuver through it all and still live here is cool, you know.
That is cool. I'm a dad as well. I have 2 kids as well, and I'd feel you, man. Being dad life and the family thing is definitely takes a lot precedence, and then of course it's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean blending it between being, you know, a musician is crazy anyway. So on top of being an artist, you know, I was a producer first, so you know, utilizing my time to be a dad around just producing was pretty easier. But since I became an artist, it was like, wow, this is how like crazy life can be, not being able to even see them for, you know, a month or maybe even longer, just through traveling on the road. But at the same time, it's like it's all for them, so I think they know that in the end.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, wow, what a cool. Yeah, but then they could always be like, look at my dad, he's this awesome, you know, huge musician and producer. Like that's pretty sweet.
Cool. They definitely they're proud of me, I think.
Yeah, I would think so as well. That's rad. Well, so talk to me about you obviously like where you live, man. You stayed there, you're born there, raised there, you're still there, raising your kids there. When did you get into music?
I was around about, well, it was always kind of a part of me from young. You know, my mom would kind of play music like ABBA and Fleetwood Mac, and also like old dance hits, like, you know, just EDM type, like old songs. But I had that in the house. But then my older brother also like was a DJ, so he'd have all the hip hop kind of stuff there. So I kind of had,
really?
I kind of grew up just listening to different kind of types of music, just subconsciously. I also skated too, and at that kind of time when I was maybe like 11, 12, 13, kind of just finding out who I am as I don't know, a growing teen. I was into rock music, so I started playing the drums first, and then I quickly grew out of that and kind of fell back in love with the hip hop and grime thing. And grime is like obviously a culture out here, a big genre out here in the UK. But yeah, that's kind of where I got my start. I never saw myself as a grime producer. I always felt like I made like hip hop beats and rap beats because that was what I listened to and was inspired by. But it was always at 140 beats per minute, which is what grime is typically around, you know. So
you probably didn't know that at the time, right? Was this something you learned later?
I didn't know it because it was a part of our culture growing up in the schools, in, you know, in high school and things. And I did know about it, so it was subconscious, I suppose. I was doing it at that, but it was always like hip hop sounding beats. So yeah, like one of these beats that I made at 15 years old just blew up when I was 17. So I had completely forgot about it, and it became like one of the biggest grime beats in the country. Back when there was no Spotify or YouTube, you know, it got big from one play on Radio 1, which is the biggest radio station in the UK.
Oh yeah.
So that was back when, like, if a DJ played it on the radio, it was like people were locked in, you know. I was 17 years old, man. So I was just like, what? This was 2009, the end of 2009. So it was just like, my life went from just trying to make beats and just do what I'm doing to being like, bam, everyone's now looking at me and trying to work with me. So that just opened up the doors. So fortunately, I feel like I've never had to leave Wolverhampton as well. Not to be ahead of myself, but I just felt like, look,
Right.
they're coming to me anyway, and I'm a nice,
Right.
they're vibing with me. So I know that will always get you there, you know, wherever
That's
you
incredible.
go. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to back up just a little bit. Well, first of all, what intrigued me is that you said you used to skate. Did you skateboard?
No, actually inline, like
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
Were you like, okay, that was a big thing here. I mean, I'm from San Diego, and
Oh
skateboarding
yeah.
and skateboarding was huge. So is inline skating. That was massive. I mean, there's big companies out here like Senate and some other ones. Is that what you did? Like that style?
Yeah.
Like grinding on rails and stuff?
Absolutely, man. I was doing all that. Like I wasn't the greatest, but I was definitely good. And yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of can't remember that much about it, but everybody in the area that I lived in was just skating. That was the vibe, and we just go to the skate park and just vibe, like you know, and just
Mhm.
yeah, I was doing like machios and top soles, all kind of like little skate tricks and stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, it's
Crazy.
like there's a culture there in itself, right? I mean, there's a music culture within that, like
It's
skating
all,
and
all linked,
skateboarding.
it's all linked together, and I think that was it. Like growing up and being around the older kids that were listening to hip hop and really getting to know certain artists. Like I remember when I was like 11, listening to like Immortal Technique and stuff, and really being put onto like you know deeper kind of rap. So it was really instilled into me. But my love was always like Southern dirty South hip hop, like UGK and you
Mhm.
know 3 6 Mafia. That was always what appealed to me. Just you know the bounce on those beats was insane. So
Sure. When you were playing drums, were you trying to play like rock music, or were you trying to play more like hip hop beats?
to be honest with you, I learned to play in high school, so I'd just be jamming with my boy who played guitar and my friend on the keys. So it was really just whatever. We just
Hmm.
kind of freestyle, but I just learned how to play by ear. But then I started actually taking lessons, and I think I got to like grade 4. So yeah, then I just
Okay.
then I was just like, no, this ain't for me. I've
Okay.
always done that, man. Like I started skating. I was like, no, this ain't for me. Started drumming, learned to do it. I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. Then I started producing. No, sorry, I started DJing, and then I was
Okay.
like, I don't like playing other people's songs, but I know how to do it. I know how to mix songs properly. Then I was like, look, I want to make my own beats instead of playing other people's, and then that just turned into me producing for. Let's get into that later. but
Everyone.
but then I was like, I've had enough of this. Now I want to be an artist and just start trying to do that. So I don't even know what's going to be next for me when I'm like, yo, I don't want to be an artist no more. You
Mhm.
know, but I know me enough to be like, I get bored of things after time. So who knows, like, what will. I'm not finished. I'm not quitting yet. Not quitting, but I'm not putting it to rest yet.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
I've got goals I want to hit and dreams. You know,
Hmm.
but even to see, like, I always get hard on myself. You know, I'm like, yo, I want to do this. I want to do that. But man, 5 years ago, I had a normal job. You know, so it's like I've done a lot in my career, and
Yeah, I mean that's wild. I mean, to think 5 years back, and I want to get into that, like going from working a normal job, and then it's like my life is producing records, and now it's writing songs and being an artist. But you mentioned DJing. Were you DJing what like parties when you were in high school, or was this? And you said your brother DJs as well.
yeah, my brother was he's a little bit he's like 10 years older than me, so he was obviously a different generation. So he was
Mhm.
DJing in nightclubs, I think, but mostly just as a hobby when he had little bookings, but nothing crazy. Um, but just being around him doing that, it definitely inspired me to want to do that because it's my older brother and I look
Mhm.
up to him. So yeah, I learned to do that, but it was actually in like we have youth clubs in the UK where like after school, if you're going out on the streets with your friends, there's these little like centers where you can go in every different neighborhood, and everyone just kind of chills there. And it's like there's a little DJ set up there with the microphone, so everyone will kind of freestyle on the mic, and I'd be there DJing the beats together. But because they're
Oh.
all they're all at 140 BPM, like I was saying, beats per minute,
Uh-huh.
that's it. Like that, we were just mixing like grime beats together, and everyone would kind of freestyle. So that's how I got into that. But then I was just like, I don't want to DJ no more. I want to
Mhm.
actually be the guy that makes the beats. I don't want to be there like playing them. I think I've just been finding out what it is I want to do the whole time. I'm definitely music orientated, but who knows? I've gone from drumming to being a full artist, and I produce all my own music, so I've got all the knowledge behind me.
Yeah, I wear a lot of hats for sure.
Yeah.
With the beat making, I mean, you said you made the beat at 15 years old. That ended up getting on the radio at 17 years old.
Yeah, man.
And what were you just messing around with a program at your house trying to teach yourself, and then it became you put something out? Like, how did that even? Do you even know how that happened?
That beat, like, I remember for that one specifically, I made it for somebody and they didn't use it, so it kind of just got left in the vault, you know. Like, I was just like, whatever. I'm making like 3 to 5, maybe even 10 beats a day at that point, because I'm just a kid in my room, like a geek, just trying to learn more about it every day, you know.
Were you putting those, like, were you pitching them to other artists, like online, or people you knew in your
At
neighborhood?
that time it was like only MySpace, so I'd upload my like beats to MySpace and try and network, but at that time it was like, it was hard, you know. I was very proactive though. I'd helped so many people, and that was what got me to produce for certain artists that I have produced for. Just being persistent and very proactive, you know, kind of like stalkerish. I'm not like that anymore, which I kind of wish I still had that hunger, because, you know, as a point where I've had success as a producer, I don't so much have the same thing as an artist. So I'm really trying to, I wish that I had that same kind of like proactiveness where I just stalk people, but I'm like 29 years old, man. So I'm not trying to be creeping people in.
Right.
But when you're like, but it's cute and cool when you're like 14, 15 years old. So, yeah. But nah, I feel like I just forgot about the beat, and then me and a collective of friends, and we had a little group called Stay Fresh, which is the collective that we put that beat out. You know, that was our little like crew, and they're not together anymore, but at the time that we was really getting some action shown on us, because especially being from Wolverhampton and Birmingham, which is a really small city, not far from here. It's like 20 minutes away, but that's the second biggest city in the UK, and all of the light on that grime kind of culture was in London. You know, that it was a London scene. It was a London genre. So to be really like bubbling out of London was a big thing back then. And I genuinely believe that beat changed the way that grime and somewhat UK music production to what it is in today. You know, how it's now American kind of sounds, but it's drill. I feel like that is all inspired by, you know, the sound and the influence that I contributed to that.
That's,
you know,
so cool.
I'm the first to do it, and it's fact. So yeah, man, that's a mad thing to self-proclaimed, but you know, that's how I feel.
But still, I mean, obviously, everything that came after that, I mean, that's crazy to think. When you put that out, and then did you know that it was gonna make BBC One, like, at the time, or was this like something so random that you're like, wait, what? I made that beat. Why?
What happened was I forgot about it, and then when I joined that collective of friends, I gave them every single beat that I had. Just take them. If it takes 400 beats for you to go through and you find one, we're good. You know, that was my mentality. So I gave them every beat. They ended up using damn near every beat, you know. But one of them was that track, and it just stumbled upon us. We were like, wow, this is special, because they could all freestyle to it, and it was just a loop, you know. So that was it. I think it was just an MC's favorite kind of beat to just let off steam on, you know. And then that's kind of the culture of how that song blew up. And because I had that kind of impact with every artist based on that beat, one beat, they all wanted their own beat from me. So it really did open up every single door to any artist that I wanted to work with, pretty much, in the UK. And that's how I did it. I got to work with, you know, Tiny Temper, who was huge at the time. You know, Skepta, I worked with him many times. So many people that are big in the UK, but then also stateside as well. You know, for example, I don't want to go too far ahead, but that beat.
No, go ahead. This is awesome.
That beat blowing up and being a part of UK culture is the reason why I got to work with Childish Gambino. You know, like
yeah, I saw that you were on you were on the Grammy record, right? The Grammy nominated one.
Yeah, man. And because the internet, I produced on the track with Chance the Rapper. I did the drums on there. And just being a, you know, like he just DM'd me on Twitter one day. This was like around the time when his debut album came out, Camp, and I was already a fan of him from Community and, you know, just knowing about him. So I was like, yo, that's Childish Gambino, that's Donald Glover. Like this was, so we linked up in like 2000, maybe 11 or no, 2012, I think.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that was early. I went to his first ever show in the UK, which was like, man, less than 100 people were there.
Wow. It's insane to see what he's achieved, right? I mean, not only is he an amazing actor, but like Childish Gambino is it's so big. I mean, it's like headlining major festivals and everything else.
And honestly, like just it's just crazy to even to think that that was like something I've contributed to, you know, or just been a part of. And he even did a verse for me. Like I was doing this thing where I was like trying to work with artists where I release them as my songs featuring them, but I just made them. And yeah, you know, Gambino gave me a whole song. There's a song out there called SX Free at Last, featuring Childish Gambino, and it's not on DSPs or anything anymore due to, you know, label issues, but it's out there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, real quick on the song, you said you're 17 when the song hits the air and then people are on you. You must have been what, and still in high school at this point?
I just left, so I just began you know, in the UK we have it where you finish high school at 16 and then you go to college for 2 years.
And then you go to university.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was in college in my second year. I did 1 year and then that was all good. But then in that second year was when things started to really, really take off. And I remember, you know, Dizzy Rascal?
I know the name.
So he had a show in Wolverhampton and I got the opportunity to meet up with him earlier in the day at the venue and play him some beats and things. And I remember I had my college called me to see like am I coming in because I was never going in. And I was like, look, I can't because I'm going to this thing, you know. I didn't tell them what I was doing, but I was like, I can't make it. Like I've got this going on. And I was like, okay, don't bother coming back. Literally on that day. But then what's crazy, Dizzy walked into the dressing room ready for me to play him some beats. My laptop was open and the laptop crashed, man. So I didn't even get to play him no beats. He just walked right out. I never saw him again.
Oh, wow. That must have been devastating, first of all, right? And then it's just like
pretty day, man, because like, oh, sorry, I don't know if you could.
No, you can cuss, say whatever you want.
It was a pretty bad day because like, yeah, just getting kicked out of college and then getting the opportunity because of trying to play this guy beats, and then my laptop failed me and he walked out. It was like, but it was a swift reminder of like, yo, you are on the right path. It's a catch-22 right there, but what do you want to do? Like, I'm not gonna go back to college. That's not for me, you know. So and then next thing I know, man, like it's all just happening anyway. So
yeah. So after that happened, were you like? I mean, it sounds like you were like you weren't even. I mean, you must have been down on yourself, right? Like, oh my god, the computer did this, and then you know I got kicked out of school, and like, what do I do?
I looked at the light of it and just was like, whatever, you know. I can't change it, so I just kept it moving, and literally like, I don't know, everyone just kept coming to me, so I wasn't that mad about it anyway. I was just like, whatever, this one bad opportunity missed out of however many blessings I'm about to receive. So yeah, and that is what happened. You know, many more came. So
yeah, what was the next? I mean, obviously the Childish Gambino thing was that the first real, aside from the song making the radio, was that like the next real big victory for you, or do you have something bigger happen between them?
I had a lot of like underground sort of, but still mainstream, you know, like I worked with, like I said, Tiny Temper. I had placements on their albums. So I was producing on a few big artist albums in between that time, but I never had like a hit or anything, you know. I was just making tracks for artists, which were still big, you know, in their own. But yeah, I never had like the song that was like, oh my God, I've produced this #1 song and I've gone crazy. But I've always just let it happen due to fate. I've never tried to force things. I've always just let it like do what it needs to do, the universe work its way, you know. But I also know that you have to kind of bring them to you. So that's just kind of what I did. I just stayed in the right rooms, just kept doing what I was doing, and next thing I know, the people are, well, they just come into me like I can't make it up. It's what was happening. So yeah, it was just what was happening. So yeah, I'm super blessed to be able to work with some of the artists I have worked with. You know.
Yeah, I mean the list of people that you've worked with is insane. I did read a quote of yours, and who knows if it's a misquote. You know how that happens. And of course, Wikipedia has screwed me in the past. But you said something about working with Lil Wayne and how that was like, if you got to work with Lil Wayne, like, you know, I made it, it's over, and then you did, and then it's like, well, now what? Like,
yeah, I found, like, whilst speaking about that recently, I've realized that, like, after you obtain another goal or one of your dreams or whatever it is that you're trying to do, more will come because you're still living your life. You know, life happens after your goal. So I've got new goals now, but everything I've ever put on my goal list or said I'm going to do, I've done it. You know, I've never overachieved, but I've believed, like, extremely. So that's like, to being from Wolverhampton and post, you know, pre even Instagram, where it's easy to just DM people. You know, you have to really be in the streets. And I was like 17 years old, traveling to London on the train and waiting outside Radio 1 and waiting to give beats to artists if I knew that they were doing a press run in the UK. I know they're going to be at that station at a certain time because they'd say, like, yo, we've got Drake on this show. So I'd go outside there. This is the first time Drake ever came to the UK. And I waited outside Radio 1 and I met his people. I met Nico. They don't even know this, but, you know, I got their emails and I sent them beats. Nothing came from it, but, you know, like, nothing came from it in that way. But then I did it for, I think Lil Wayne came over and I met one of his dudes from Cash Money, and that is how I got in there. That's how I did it. You know, I got the email, I sent beats, and bam, I did it. And then there was other avenues where I had friends, like, in America that were also kind of close to other artists, like my boy DJ Folk. He's close to Jeezy and collects beats for Jeezy. So that's how I got the Jeezy placement. You know, we got a #1 album in America on that Billboard 200. So that's crazy as well. And he's a legendary, you know, Young Jeezy is a huge,
yeah,
huge piece of, especially Southern hip hop too. So for me to achieve that as well is mad. Yeah.
that is wow. I mean, it's wild to think now. I mean, hearing your hustle, like going down to Radio 1 and just waiting outside, trying to, you know, give somebody your beats. Like I remember hearing other stories doing this podcast about artists in like early 2000s doing that as well. Like going like if you're in a band, like, okay, I know so-and-so is playing tonight at this club. I'm going to show up there and I'm going to just give them my demo and hope that they listen to it. And to hear those little victories and those success stories is so cool.
That's how it is. Like, that was my logic of thinking. I remember watching like MTV, something on MTV, and they were like, look, they were scared about it. Was, I think it might have been 50 Cent or somebody, but they were like, they get scared doing certain shows. It wasn't 50 Cent. It might have been, I don't know who it was, but they were like, we get scared going to certain concerts because people know we're pulling up to the city. They know we're about to be in this exact spot. You don't know who's got beef with us. You don't know who's pulling up. And I was like, that makes so much sense. I know they're going to be right there. Why don't I go to exactly where they're going to be at and be like, I never even tried to go for the artist. I'd always go for the man. I'd assess the situation and see who he's close to, who he's talking to before he, and then I'd be like, look, because I'm this like 16, 17-year-old white kid, they're just like, all right, let's check it out. And like, they always hit me back. It's crazy, you know? So blessed. That's all I can say. I don't know if it's
Wow.
the energy I was giving them or, but it always seemed to come back. So
Sure. I mean, in the industry now, I mean, obviously it's changed a whole lot, especially like you said with Instagram and everything else that's happening. Is there any like tool that you would, you know, use, or like if you were, you know, 17, 18 now and you're trying to reach out to these people, I feel like if you're shooting DMs to these artists that have millions of followers, like, is it going to get lost? Like, you're even going to hear something back?
Facebook, like Facebook was the one, because even like Mike Karen, this is 2009, I knew about him. I messaged him on Facebook and he replied to me, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So I met him like years later in real life, and I told him about that, and he's like, well, that's how you do it. You know, you hunt people down, you be a stalker, and that was it. But through, he didn't give me his contact. He gave me the new assistant that he just employed, who then went on. I built a traction with him, and you know, he went on to introduce me to Lupe Fiasco, Ty Dolla Sign. I got to work with all of these artists from that. So Mike Karen doesn't even know that, but just being the person he is, or the person that everyone else is, when I'm asking them, everyone's linked somehow. So it all ends up somehow being, oh, you know this, you know, when you eventually
It's
work with
weird how small the world is, right?
them, man, it is. So
It's wild to think. And
yeah.
I've had that situation happen recently where like my younger son, he's 5 and he's in kindergarten, and a guy, I recently moved to Nashville, and a guy that I met, like the one person I've kind of befriended here, um, he's in the music industry, and this my son's really good friend from school. We finally had him over at our house with his mom, and sure enough, his mom like grew up with this guy. Like it was just like, wait, what? Like, and we're all in the same area. It was just like just these little things that you kind of weave in and connect is so crazy. And that
And
was
that's what I say about the universe, man. Like the path that we're on is written out for us. You know, we just got to keep walking on it, keep going, and that's it. You're supposed. Those things are amazing, and you're supposed to. People are meant to be in your life for a reason, you know. And the fact that there's those things that people might call coincidences. I don't call them that. Those are like you vibed with that person and come together for a reason. It says a lot, you know. So yeah,
that's
not,
great.
yeah.
It's so cool to hear that. I mean, I love that the story of you just going out there and, you know, okay, well, I might not be able to talk to Drake, but I could talk to this guy that's talking to Drake, who obviously has some sort of relationship with him. So maybe if I give him my record or give him my beats, he might hear them. He might get back to me. And
You just never know, man. And like, I've learned so much about being an artist from being I'm sorry, I've learned so much about artists from being an artist now. Where, you know, being a producer first, I've got that kind of like the nerd in me where I'm trying to always stay in tune with what's the latest sounds, the latest you know, production things to have. But then there's also the artist part of me where it needs to focus on being an artist. Like there's always that grind in me that's like, yo, you know, if I could just get in the studio with this person, if they're in my city, like I can pull up with my laptop with my mic, we can make the song tonight. You know, like that's always going to be in me. So, you know, even if artists come to Birmingham and, you know, have a show there, I might link up with them and just take my setup, and, you know, you never know. I'm always ready. That grind is still there. It's just, let's do it. And that's how I'm feeling now.
That's awesome. I love that. On the artist project, when did you decide, like, you know what, I love producing, I love what I'm doing, but I want to kind of take this to a different direction?
Honestly, like it's always something I've wanted to do. Obviously, I just never had the confidence to do it. I never really felt like people would take me serious. They might laugh at me, or I don't know. I was embarrassed about what others would feel. But I remember you know, I broke up with my kid's mom in 2016 and moved out, and kind of just had like my own time again, and obviously was going through the heartbreak and the real life situation of kind of separating from your family. I was like, you know what, like producing ain't for me anyway right now, because I had already put it on the back burner because due to life happening. And you know, I went through like a 3-year period where life wasn't all amazing and I was producing for these people. I actually stopped producing, went through real serious personal issues, and had to get a normal job, you know, where I started working at Wolverhampton Wanderers, the football club.
Oh, really? The
Yeah,
Wolves?
but I'm now an ambassador for them, and you know, I'm an A&R for their record label. So the full circleness of it all. But I don't want to jump the gun. I want to go back to there real quick. Breaking up with my family in a sense, you know, and leaving them and having my own space and being able to be in this like environment where I don't know, it's so alien to me, you know. It's like I met with her when I was 18 and then left when I was, I mean, I can't do the maths, I don't even know. But you know, 2016
Years later. Yeah.
figure it out. Yeah, I felt like I was 18 again, in a sense of like just being able to be chilling in my room with just me in there and not actually, you know, knowing that you know, my partner's coming in, or the kids are there even. So I was just like, you know, what do I do? I started pouring out all my heartbreak into the microphone because I'd always wanted to do it, but because I'm alone. And I was listening to Phil Collins around that time so heavily. And obviously some of his albums are very heartbreak written, and, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
so it hit me, man. And I was just like, you know what, fuck this. I'm gonna just do it, man. And the first song I ever wrote was the first song I ever put out. And funnily enough, it got premiered on Radio One.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and
That's,
it,
I mean, that's full circle in itself, right? I mean, geez.
yeah, but just to think like I did it and I just put it out and I didn't care what people thought. I was like, fuck it, I'm going out on Radio One. People are gonna hear it. First song I've ever wrote. They know about all my success as a producer. They, you know, but this is me now. I'm just doing this. I'm going to do it. And I remember like I had to say that to family. I was so scared and embarrassed about like I'm singing now. I feel like it's not me. I'm not the most confident person, you know. So that's something that was a big thing for me, but I just did it. And
Yeah.
honestly, man, like that same thing that I'm saying about the universe or just that belief in yourself, that's what did it for me. I think that's what, you know, I'm still not all the way there, but I've done so much during this artist thing that
Mhm.
I know what my path is written, you know. I just got some more steps to go and I'm gonna start hitting personal goals, man. You know.
I love that. I love that that mindset. I'm stealing that from you as far as my own life goes. Like the path is already written.
You can't
Just
steal what is a gift.
just keep going.
Yeah, man. But
Because a
yeah.
lot of times, I mean, in any industry or art form, people run into these, you know, stops or these moments where you're like, I should just give up, right? I'm this isn't working. Like you said, I'm going back to a job. I'm gonna go do this. Like I need to do something else. And then obviously it came back. You're like, okay, actually I should be doing this artist project. You know, fast forward and now you've been doing it for a while. You've had major successes,
Mhm.
and
It's
I just
crazy, man. It's mad. Like I don't know. It's life is real, you know, to go back to what you were saying about going through personal things. And that's how real it is because it can come full circle and flip right back around. And
Mhm.
even just like, I've been quite quiet. My fans know this. I've been quite quiet over the last kind of year and a half with not just COVID and the whole thing affecting us in mentally from being trapped in, but I've had some other personal issues happen, and that's made me be a little bit stepped away from, you know, how much I was putting out there.
Mhm.
Um, so life is real and it's all about growing and adapting and finding out who you are. You're a new person damn near every day, you know? So that's it. Like I just believe in what's going to happen will happen and what's meant to be will be, man, you know? But yeah, I'm excited to see what is next for me in terms of where I head. I love fashion, so we never know. I might just be a fashion designer in 10 years.
That's awesome.
Well, this man, hopefully that's always been my dream though, and to be an actor as well. Like,
Oh,
yeah, I would love to act. I love expressing myself in a different way. So yeah.
sure. I mean, going back to what you were saying, like, you know, now you got to tell your family, like, I'm a singer now. And then you already had kind of like, right, you already have eyes on you in the industry and fans that know you and they know you're a producer. It might
Yeah.
even be kind of even more I want to say difficult that you're going to be
Oh,
like,
it
okay,
was.
now I'm going to put this out here. And then is anyone going to just start, you know, trashing me? Or they're going to be like, you
Literally,
know,
like I laugh about it all the time with my manager because he's one of my biggest fans and supporters. You know, he's like
mhm,
my older brother. But I remember when I said to him, like, yo, I'm gonna put producing on the back burner and focus on just being a full-on artist now. And he legit said to me, and we talk about this. He was like, bro, like I hear you and you know I support you, but I don't know if this is, you know, one of the best decisions to make at this time. And for me, I needed to hear that because that was the fuel that I needed to be like, no, watch, I'm going to make it happen, you know? So I did, and that's it, man. It started happening and I proved myself right, you know, rather than,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah,
get kind of, yeah. It's like, oh, I can't do this. Well, now I'm definitely going to do
for sure, man. Like,
it.
someone close to me says like, "Yo, that might not be doable." It definitely like, maybe I'm very stubborn, but it definitely contributes to some of the success I've had. is being doubted, man, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I love the fact like being from Wolverhampton is like such a cool thing, and still living here despite still doing what I'm doing. It's a little bit of a flex, man. It's not easy work, you know.
Yeah, a huge flex, right? I mean, you didn't, and that's the thing is like you're in a smaller city. You weren't like living in New York or LA, and you had these connections and grew up with Lil Wayne's son. Or, you know, it's just like these things that like to break out of a small town and to achieve what you've done. Not only to achieve what you've done, no matter where you live, but like you said, to kind of do it out of your hometown and still live there and have that hometown pride. I love that.
Yeah, man. And like I said, like I really love my city and I put on for it. And I'm an ambassador for the football team foundation. You know, I do a
That's
lot of work.
huge.
Yeah, man. I really, really want Wolverhampton to be, it got voted like one of the worst cities in the world, like maybe the third city in the world. It's a thing, you can Google it, but it definitely,
In what regard? Like that's kind of
it's not a rundown city, but it's just like not it. There's something
okay.
about it. It's just only people from Wolverhampton will know. Like it's just like it's Wolverhampton. It's weird, but it's home, and it's like that's what I love about it. It reminds me of where I grew up, and to be still there. Like I'll never leave Wolverhampton. I mean, I don't live directly in Wolverhampton, but I'm very close by. You know, so I'm always in Wolverhampton. And even when I do move away into my big, big, big country house one day, that's not going to be far, you know? It's not going to be far. Even if I move to America or whatever I end up doing, I still will have home over here, 100%.
That's incredible. Well, let's talk about your new song, All Night.
Yeah, me and Trippie Redd. It's produced by myself and Digital Farm Animals, who you know produces with KSI a lot, and they produce for like Jonas Brothers, and he makes hits, man. We've got some more work as well coming together. But yeah, me and Rico Love wrote the song back in 2019, like maybe March 2019, February, very early 2019. And again, one of those songs I was just like, it's cool, I love it, but I don't feel like it's me yet. So I just left it and just forgot about it. And then 2 years later, after COVID, we were like, oh, yo, this is a song, like we should, you know, rework on this. So we never touched the vocals, we kept those, but we made a new beat around it. And then my beat wasn't quite all the way it. So then we sent it to Digital Farm Animals and he just chef kissed it. So yeah, and then we ended up getting Trippie on it. My manager is cool with his manager and they made it happen. And yeah, man, he's on it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's the first single from my debut album as well. So I'm very, well, the first official single. I dropped a song just before it called Who We Are.
Yeah.
So
but the record, you have a full record, right? Ready to go?
Yeah. Almost, man. Still working on it.
Still working on it?
Every single night that I'm available. Sometimes I'm having my kids overnight, so I can't work on it. But every single night that I'm free, I'm in the studio, tweaking it, finishing it. I'm going there straight after this. So honestly, it's coming, man. I'm really excited for it because not only is it my debut album, but I've dropped 4 mixtapes as an artist since. And I can hear the growth from my first one to this one, but I know it's album time now. I really feel like I can say this is my album, you know? I found that like starting, I was just doing whatever I wanted to do and just making vibes. And now I've learned over the years about songwriting properly. And rather than just making whatever I want to make, I'm actually making songs and I'm enjoying that. So there's a blend of like pop songs on there. I love making like pop songs, messing with electronic sounds. You know, All Night to me is a pop song, you know. But who is SX as an artist? That isn't SX, you know. So there's a whole other side to the album which is not pop. It's my original sound that I was doing, which is like trappy, experimental kind of songs, but me at the same time, like an elevated, graduated version of me. So I'm excited for the fans there and everyone to hear that, man. But you know, I know the fans have been waiting for me to drop some kind of my original type of music, you know. So yeah, they won't be disappointed.
That's awesome. Do you have features on all the songs or only a few or?
Well, I don't even really do features, you know, I on my own songs. But on the album, Like my last mixtape was 18 tracks with no feature.
Okay.
The
I
one
was just
before,
curious because you had Trippie Redd on our Trippie Redd on this one, so that
no,
was
no,
just
for sure. That's what I wanted to just say though. Like, and then my previous mixtape was only one feature, and same with the others, you know. But with my album, I'm going to be collabing a lot more. I'm going to be doing a lot more of collaborations, you know. So Trippie Redd is the first that you're seeing, but you can expect more. You know, I've got some good friends in the industry, so I've got some interesting Instagram DMs that I've done. You know, I ain't been going to their house and waiting for them. I've been DMing them. So
Oh, right on. Yeah. Did you leak one of them on your Instagram recently?
A song.
Oh no, I was gonna say I saw a picture of you with an artist, a massive artist right now, and I was wondering if he was gonna be on the record.
Oh, which song?
Oh,
Remind me.
Louis Capaldi.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll see, man. We'll see what's I didn't want
That's
to flex, but I was like, which huge artist? I've been with so many. Like, no, I'm joking.
no, this is like 2 days ago, or I think it's not 2 days ago, but it was like your second to most recent post. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa, that's rad.
And we met at I was playing at, I don't remember what festival it was. It was one in Glasgow anyway. But he was there and we met and we just started kicking it, man. Like we just gravitated. So yeah, who knows what's coming?
Yeah, you guys look like you've been old friends or something. Those are some great photos, man.
That was the first time we'd ever met. So
Wow. Well, I appreciate your time, SX. This has been so awesome. I loved hearing your story. And I have one more quick question. I know you've been dropping advice throughout this whole entire thing, but I was wondering if you have any to aspiring artists.
Aspiring artist, man. I'd still consider myself an aspiring artist, honestly. So, you know, just keep going, man. Keep elevating, keep experimenting with new sounds, and don't try to do the same old thing just because you've heard it happen. Just try different shit because that is what people are excited to hear. They don't want to hear the same thing, you know. So yeah. With that
I
being
love
said,
it.
that's the motto for my album. Try different shit, you know.
The new album from SX. Try different shit.
Try different shit.
Bringing it backward.